So on March 19th, 2026, over 5,000 people tuned into a live social media broadcast. And they were there to listen to a hacker syndicate just casually announce the digital hijacking of an entire nation.
Yeah, completely unprecedented. I mean, a highly coordinated cyber offensive launched in broad daylight with a live audience and like a literal countdown clock.
Right. They didn't speak in riddles or hide behind, layers of encrypted dark web forums. They got on an X space, which is just a public audio room anyone with a phone can join, and set a strict public deadline to obliterate the Argentine state infrastructure.
And the craziest part of all of this, the government still failed to stop it.
Exactly. So today, we're opening up this massive stack of sources to uncover exactly how that happened. We are looking at a highly detailed threat intelligence dossier.
It's a heavy one, too.
Yeah, it came across our desks marked as Alerta de Seguridad Inteligencia de Amenazas. And then the title is La verdad oculta sobre Xyr0s, el secuestro digital de una nación.
Which, for those of you who don't speak Spanish, translates to the hidden truth about Xyr0s and the digital hijacking of a nation.
So our mission for this deep dive is to cut through all the noise. We want to figure out how a massive cyber threat was broadcast live, how the government ended up declaring this completely false victory, and how the true architect of this theft is still operating in the shadows right now, actively monetizing millions of lives.
And honestly, this should completely shatter a comforting illusion you might be holding onto as a listener.
Oh, totally.
The era of hackers hiding in the deepest, darkest corners of the internet, it's over. The new digital battlefield is entirely public. And worse, the institutions you trust to protect your personal information might be living in a really dangerous delusion.
So let's start right there with that live broadcast on March 19th. The X space was titled Bombitas del Gobierno, which means government bombs. And the syndicate calling the shots was known as the Chronus Mafia, or Chronus Team.
Right, and they basically gave the Argentine government an 11-day heads up. March 30th was the deadline.
But, how do we even have a reliable record of a live audio chat room? It's not like X automatically logs these for public forensic review.
Well, that's where social audio intelligence comes in, or so-called. This intel was specifically gathered by a cybersecurity meta-analyst named Alberto Daniel Hill.
Yeah, I was reading up on Alberto Hill in the dossier. His background is intense. I mean, he's not just your standard analyst sitting in a corporate cubicle somewhere.
No, not at all. He actually survived a massive systemic institutional failure himself. He was the first hacker wrongfully sent to prison in Uruguay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and living through that kind of trauma, it changes how you operate. Because of that, our sources note that Hill works under what is called an IAL3 survival protocol.
Wait, hold on. IAL3, I know that term from cryptography. I think it stands for
Yes.
Identity Assurance Level 3, right?
Exactly.
That's the absolute highest standard for proving someone is who they say they are. Usually it requires, a rigorous in-person verification. How does a person use a corporate identity standard as a personal survival protocol?
By applying it to his everyday life. I mean, Hill effectively refuses to trust any digital footprint at face value.
Zero trust.
Right. If he's interacting with someone online and he cannot cryptographically or physically verify their identity to the standard of, say, a bank opening a vault, he treats that interaction as a potential breach.
So he's essentially a walking, talking forensic containment field.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. He doesn't rely on press releases or hearsay. He's capturing raw, undeniable audio evidence with a level of extreme paranoia.
Which honestly makes sense given what he went through.
It does, and that rigorous neutrality actually makes him highly respected by both sides of the law, which pays off here because 10 days after that initial warning broadcast, the threat actors actually seek him out.
Right. This part reads like a movie script. The official Chronus Mafia account joins one of Hill's X spaces.
They don't just lurk in the background either.
No, they hop on the mic.
Yeah.
They join him for a 10-minute live dialogue. They bypass traditional government diplomacy entirely to just bluntly discuss how the digital infrastructure of the region is collapsing.
What's fascinating here is the psychological shift.
Yeah.
In the past, a hack was a purely technical operation. You get in, you get the data, you get out quietly. Now we are seeing the weaponization of public perception. The intelligence reports call this cyber populism.
So they're turning the hack into a theatrical performance.
Precisely. They use these highly visible platforms to launch psychological operations. By generating fear, uncertainty, and doubt in the public sphere, they amplify the perceived impact of the breach. The panic is literally part of the payload.
Okay, let's unpack this for a second, because I have to push back on that strategy a bit.
Sure.
This is essentially like a supervillain broadcasting their bank heist on a town hall megaphone, right? If Chronus announced their attack to 5,000 people, how did the intelligence agencies not instantly shut down the space and secure the networks? Traditional diplomats can't just log into an X space and negotiate with anime avatars.
That's why independent analysts like Hill become de facto digital diplomats. But to understand why the government didn't act, you have to look at the victims' blind spots.
Okay.
The intelligence dossiers point to a massive institutional vulnerability here. They call it the Schengen illusion.
The Schengen illusion, like the border-free zone in Europe.
Exactly. It's a false sense of security. The government institutions were operating under the delusion that their invisible geographic sovereign borders would somehow protect their digital infrastructure.
Oh, I see.
They believed that because they are a nation-state, they're inherently secure from a decentralized network of teenagers and anonymous coders.
So while the countdown clock was literally ticking in public, the authorities were just, issuing dismissive press releases, assuring everyone everything was fine.
Pretty much. They trusted the official badge on their desk instead of looking at the reality of the code. But it wasn't just arrogance.
No.
No, the hackers actually deployed a specific methodology to actively blind the defenders. The sources call it a bifurcated threat model.
Meaning the attack is split into two separate arms.
Right. First, you have a decentralized, mob-driven swarm. In this specific incident, it was networks operating under names like OpFez or the Cybercola Swarm.
And their job is just to create incredible, deafening noise. I mean, the dossier mentions they use low-tech, high-volume tactics, right?
Yeah, things like sending out disguised links to grab the IP addresses of government workers, using open-source image scraping to find personal photos and doxing people.
They even had a name for that, didn't they?
Yeah.
Kara's Horribles or Horrible Faces. It just sounds like a massive algorithmic riot.
That's exactly what it is, an algorithmic riot at the front door.
So wait, the swarm isn't actually hacking the mainframe? It's more like a magician's misdirection. They throw a brick through the front window so no one notices the safe being cracked in the back office.
Yes. And while every security guard and IT administrator is running to the lobby to deal with the broken glass and the shouting crowd,
the real heist is happening quietly.
Precisely. While the swarm distracts the human element, what we call the Layer 8 vulnerability Chronus acts as the sniper in the back office. The dossier notes they were using military-grade signals intelligence, or SIGINT, to systematically extract the real data.
Okay, hold on. When I hear SIGINT, I think of, military satellites intercepting radio chatter or tapping submarine cables.
Yeah.
How does a hacker syndicate use signals intelligence in a corporate network breach?
In a cyber context, it means they aren't just breaking into a database. They are compromising the defender's communication channels.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They're intercepting the internal Slack messages, the IT support tickets, the email threads of the security teams. They use SIGINT to watch the government's response in real time.
So they know exactly where the defenders are looking.
Which means they know exactly where they aren't looking.
That is absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
You're trying to patch a hole, and the intruder is reading the blueprint over your shoulder while you do it.
It highlights a really terrifying reality for you, the listener, honestly. We often think of cybersecurity as a software problem. Firewalls, encryption keys, antivirus.
Right, the tech stuff.
But the most vulnerable layer in any system isn't the software, it's layer 8, the human being sitting at the keyboard. The bifurcated threat model proves that if you can overwhelm the humans monitoring the firewall with coordinated psychological operations, they will make a mistake.
They'll leave a port open in the panic.
Exactly. They will miss the real exfiltration completely.
Which brings up a technical question for me. Pulling millions of records isn't like dragging a Word document to a USB drive. It takes massive bandwidth. How does a single entity manage a data exfiltration of that magnitude without tripping the government's automated bandwidth alarms?
That is the genius of the swarm's noise. When you have tens of thousands of fake login attempts, denial of service attacks, and chaotic traffic flooding the network.
The massive spike in outbound data just blends into the chaos.
Exactly. The real exfiltration looks like a rounding error in the middle of a massive network storm.
So the government is completely distracted, the sniper takes the shot under the cover of the storm, and the data is gone. But, following this massive breach, the government needed a win. They couldn't just ignore it. And in May 2026, they got one.
Well, they got the illusion of one.
Right. The Argentine Federal Police, the PFA, executed a major operation. They arrested a figure known as Xyr0s. And our forensic sources include a strict intelligence directive here, noting that this individual must be identified specifically by the alias Xyr0s.
Yeah, and Xyr0s was identified as the creator and primary leader of the Chronus team. The media absolutely ran with it.
Oh, the government held press conferences celebrating the total dismantling of the Chronus Mafia.
Yeah.
The bad guy was in handcuffs, threat over, everybody go back to sleep.
But if you look at the forensic reality, Xyr0s wasn't some isolated hacker in a dark basement. He was just a single node in a much larger ecosystem.
The dossier mentions he was actually part of a massive dictators group on Telegram.
Right. Which functioned essentially as an underground marketplace for buying and selling stolen databases. Xyr0s was just a supplier.
So arresting him was basically just taking out one vendor in a massive digital bazaar. It doesn't shut down the market.
Not even close. And we know for a fact that the threat wasn't dismantled because Alberto Hill and other analysts were intercepting the private Telegram chats of the Chronus Mafia immediately after the arrest.
The infrastructure adapted instantly.
Yes. And this is where a central operative steps out of the shadows, a figure named Xyr.
Xyr0s takes the reins. And under Xyr0s, the Chronus Mafia evolves from this loosely structured, noisy hacktivist group into a highly organized machine.
They turned it into a hacker-as-a-service operation.
Here's where it gets really interesting to me. The authorities are holding a parade for catching the founder. But meanwhile, Xyr0s is essentially operating a massive, population-level data vacuum in the shadows.
A completely systematic data harvesting machine.
Right. I mean, the Argentines' massive data haul was wild. 17 million citizens systematically exfiltrated, and a staggering 24,555,329 affiliates compromised across 30 health insurances, the obras sociales. How does a government completely miss the theft of 24 million records?
Because they fundamentally misunderstood the nature of the threat. The network's resilience proves that arresting a single figurehead doesn't stop an automated service.
It's like arresting a CEO and assuming the factory assembly line will just stop running.
Exactly. The machines keep moving. It's a stark warning to not trust triumphant press releases over hard forensic evidence.
Okay, so we have Xyr sitting on this unprecedented mountain of data. 24 million health records, 17 million citizen profiles. What is the plan? We are moving from the theft to the chillingly corporate monetization of the attack.
This is where we see the concept of criminal democracy in action. Xyr0s manages the public panic with millimeter precision.
Wait, in the intercepted chats, Xyr0s is actually seen running democratic polls among the group members, right?
Yes, literally running polls.
So they are voting on the most destructive way to leak the data. Xyr0s asks, do we dump the entire 22.3 million person database at once, or do we hold it back and strategically leak critical targets like banks, businessmen, and health insurers to maximize public friction?
It's a calculated tactical deployment of damage.
Wait, they're running polls. So this isn't about some grand ideological manifesto anymore. It sounds more like a ruthless corporate startup asking its shareholders for the best go-to-market strategy for stolen lives.
That's a great analogy.
What does this all mean for the people caught in that database?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it means your data isn't just being exposed to make a political point. It is being weaponized for direct economic exploitation.
No.
The true motive isn't political hacktivism, it's financial. And Xyr0s is actively recruiting for the Chronus Revolution Team, specifically seeking out talent with advanced skills in carding and banking fraud.
Building a financial crimes division.
Exactly. And they demand ransom in US dollars to avoid crypto volatility. It's a pragmatic business.
As if the real threat of Xyr0s wasn't enough, there is this whole disinformation subplot.
The ecosystem pollution.
Right, because corporate actors are looking to profit off the chaos, making it nearly impossible for the public to know what's real. The sources reveal a bizarre operation run by a UK-registered firm called BCA Ltd, Birmingham Cyberarms, and its owner.
Yeah, they allegedly created a fake hacker persona named ex-presidents.
And this fake hacker just posts fake or low-level data leaks. Like, the dossier mentions a 39-kilobyte database pretending to be a major government breach.
39 kilobytes, it's nothing.
Or they post basic VPN manuals you could just find on Google.
Yeah.
And then BCA Ltd would immediately discover these leaks.
Right, they report them to the media, specifically a journalist at El Observador, and position themselves as the expert saviors providing the solution.
So let me get this straight. We have governments ignoring actual massive threats from Chronus, while at the very same time, a cybersecurity firm is essentially inventing fake hackers, just so they can play the hero on the evening news. It's a total circus.
It is, but it's a dangerous one. This disinformation campaign creates a thick fog of war. It delegitimizes real forensic warnings, like Alberto Hill's.
Because everyone is just overwhelmed with fake alerts.
Exactly. It leaves the public wildly unprotected because the media is distracted by manufactured ghost stories, while Xyr0s empties the real vault.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, the key takeaways are just staggering. We've seen the evolution of hackers from dark web lurkers to public cyber populists. We've talked about the extreme danger of the Schengen illusion.
Trusting invisible borders to protect digital code.
Right. And the false victory over Xyr0s decks, completely masking the chilling corporate efficiency of Xyr0s' data hoarding. Plus, the muddying of the waters by fake corporate hackers.
The fog of war is real.
It really is. So for you listening, the call to action here is clear. You have to evaluate threat warnings based on their forensic rigor, not the PR spin of institutions or media outlets. You have to assume the adversary is persistent.
And I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over.
Oh, please do.
We've seen how devastating human-driven swarms and polls and Telegram chats can be at overwhelming our defenses. They distract our Layer 8 human vulnerabilities and decide our digital fate.
Yeah.
But what happens when these threat actors start using artificial intelligence?
Oh, wow.
What happens when they use AI to fully automate both the psychological noise of the swarm and the precision of the sniper's data theft? Will we even realize we've been breached before the ransom note arrives?
That is a terrifying thought to leave off on. AI-driven cyber swarms. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Stay curious, question the narrative, and stay secure.